Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here today with Bruce McCurdy. Welcome, Bruce.
Hey David, how you doing tonight?
Good. One of the rare times I've attended a game. My brother-in-law was up from Calgary and he bought some tickets, and I
Oh
attended it
yeah.
with him. And a kind of a mediocre time was had by all, by
What?
every fan in the building, probably. Not a stinker game, but certainly not a very inspiring game, Bruce. It was just, the Oilers had fought their way back into that game, and then those two goals against, with just such poor defensive play on both of those goals, just breakdown after breakdown, and lack of effort as well, lack of concentration, effort, and breakdowns on those plays. It was very frustrating to see the Oilers, kind of. They probably had a chance to win that game, get a point out of it, and they had battled back against the Vancouver Canucks and just threw it away. Wasn't happy. Nobody was. So let's do our two good things. Or do you have something? Go ahead.
Hard to be happy about a game like that, getting whooped by Vancouver in your own ice on Hockey Night in Canada. But
Yeah,
the better team won.
the
I
better
think there's
team did
much
win.
question about that.
Yeah, there was no question about that. What were you did the grade A scoring chances tonight? What were they?
I had them at 13 to 11 for Vancouver. It could be 12-11 because one was kind of a borderline grade B chance.
So it was pretty
But
close.
it was close. But Edmonton had a couple of they had one burst in the second period, and then in garbage time, Vancouver really wasn't. They didn't push the offense at all in the third period. So they only had two chances in the third period.
Uh,
And one of them was the early goal. And then they kind of just minded their P's and Q's and gave Edmonton a couple of sort of half decent looks, but nothing,
yeah,
you
everything
know.
was going well for the Oilers in the second, Bruce. They were coming on, they were playing well, and then they had just a stinker play and then another one. Like just, I mean, Tippett will. I don't know what he said in the post game, but those were two wretched goals against.
Yeah.
And so we're going to do our two good things, two bad things, and two
Yeah,
numbers, and those goals are going to come up again.
I would imagine they will. Yeah.
I would imagine they will. Let's start with a good thing.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with Connor McDavid, who produced a key goal few seconds after Vancouver had made it 2-0 on a shorthanded goal. It was a real killer. And McDavid pulled the Oilers back in the game on the next shift. In fact, it was the same shift for him at the end of the power play, and he stayed out and and took a nice pass from Ethan Bear and picked the far corner. And then he also made a play on the tying goal where he chipped the puck ahead to Kassian and then zoomed up the ice and charged into the zone and sort of created some space for Kassian to take the shot. It was kind of an unusual play in that McDavid was a decoy and Draisaitl was nowhere to be seen. It was Kassian who was the sniper. That's not usually the way it works, but he did his job there, and he helped get the team back in the game. And he took over the lead in the NHL scoring race, where he's actually now 1 point ahead of Draisaitl after tonight.
Is that two
So
games in a row without a point for Draisaitl?
it is.
Draisaitl did not have his best game. His feet weren't really moving. There was a number of Oilers, Bruce.
Yeah.
I really noticed Adam Larson in this regard.
Hmm.
He gets the puck. He's like a statue with it. Like, move your feet, man. You're not fast to start with, but you're not doing yourself any favors at all. Now, it might be because he's still acclimatizing from his injury, getting back into it. But I really noticed it live. Just every time he gets the puck, it's like you're standing there. What are you doing? Like
Hmm.
this is a basic fundamental of hockey for a defenseman. You get the puck, start moving your feet, and the
Hmm.
the odds of something good happening go up a lot. So Draisaitl was in the same boat, kind of not exactly hustling on a lot of plays. I will put it that way. And yeah, but I'm already on to bad things, Bruce.
What's your
My
good
good.
thing, Dave?
Well, you kind of covered it a little bit. It was the Cassian goal, and what I liked about the goal, McDavid did go hard to the net, but he's becoming a very smart player, puck protecting. Um,
Hmm.
like he's gotten rid of some of the. I didn't. The first penalty that he got was kind of a I don't know. Like the Canuck player kind of got low. It's if he hits him shoulder to shoulder, it's no penalty because the Canuck player stumbles, that's a penalty then. So it was anyway. It seemed kind of marginal, but his play on the goal was fantastic in that he just waited and waited for McDavid he waited for the play to develop, kind of all sniper like there, right? All
Hmm.
smart and sniper like. And when finally when McDavid crossed his path, that's when he fired. Just at the very right moment. And that's why that puck went in the net because there was a great screen. The goalie didn't see it. Why it's a grade A chance. And as opposed, if he had just shot that before the screen, there's no way that puck goes in from there, Bruce. It just does not happen. So a very strong play by Zack Kassian on the goal. Good for him.
It
Hope they
was a wicked shot,
it was a good
right
shot
in,
too.
dinged in off the post, like it was. But unusual, like Cassian to me has a slight problem in that he likes to defer to his line mates.
Hmm.
Even when he's the guy in best shooting position, he's looking to pass to someone else rather than take it into his own
Kind of smart
hands.
though. Kind
And
of
well, I understand to a degree, but there are times when you're the guy to take the shot. And I have to say, in my living room, I said, shoot, just at the second he actually let it fly. And I was surprised, especially when I saw it hit the net. But, so that was the moment to let Ding with that shot, and he made it count. But it was a crafty play all the way in by number 44. So
Do you remember?
credit where due.
Speaking of yelling shoot, there was a play where Larson had just an absolute. He was just moving into the slot. He could have
Oh,
moved into the slot more, and then he like shoot Adam Larson. Play with some confidence.
yeah.
He is a step behind Bruce right now, and I don't know if it's interesting because if they make a change, they'll probably take out Caleb Jones, right? They'll probably and keep Larson in there, and I can see that. But it's Larson who's the guy who's a step behind right now. Okay, I'm sneaking in bad things all along here. You can tell I seem to have like
Well, there's a lot of
50.
bad things in this game.
There sure were.
If you're an Oilers fan,
Let's go to the bad. Excuse me. Let's go to the bad things now. The formal part of the bad things, as opposed to the informal, just moaning and bitching, which I've been doing so far. But what's your official?
I'm gonna let you go first while I try and remember which one I had singled out to be my
Oh,
bad
okay,
thing.
because there's both the third and the fourth goals were just so. But listen, Oscar Clefbaum's play on the third goal, Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
He he played the puck. Like this is a simple play. The guy, it's just one on one, and he twice, Bruce, he got on the wrong side of the defender. First is the puck's coming into the Oilers zone. Clefbaum is playing the puck and he's on the wrong side. So that's how the guy gets in there. And then somehow the Vancouver player, Pearson, goes to the net. And where's Clefbaum? He's way on the beside the net. And Riley Shannon's left to essentially contend with two players in front of the net. And Smith is left to contend with, he could have done better with the rebound, but you jam away long enough at the puck and it's going to go in. So, I think Oscar Klefbom is a very fine NHL defenseman, but until he solves these defensive brain farts, which we see now and then, and certainly was an evidence on that play where again, twice he's on the wrong side of the puck. Um, I don't see him I don't hold him in the elite category of NHL defenseman because of plays like that. He's got to solve that, and it's probably not going to happen, right? Because he's a fairly veteran player.
I had Klefbom as one of four Oilers that were at fault on that
Yeah,
goal. I thought Sheahan lost the battle, Jones lost the battle, Klefbom lost the battle. Like they just were beat on sort of 50-50
all the way up the
pucks.
ice.
And then yeah, and then Smith did a bad job on the original shot, punting out a greasy rebound, and then he didn't close down the near side post, and he allowed the guy jammed the puck in just in between his leg and the post. That happened twice, one on each post, where Smith looked like he had his leg in position, and then he shuffled it to I don't know why, and while he was shuffling, the guy tucked the puck home.
Yeah,
So
that goal, Bruce, it was this slow developing horror show
yeah.
where there was easy plays, easy 50-50 battles, or even like 70-30 battles where the Oilers were actually in the better position to make the play. And they just kind of got beat all the way up the ice because of poor defensive fundamentals or lack of effort again and again and again until it was in the net. And it was like, that's in the net. Like, how do you
Yeah.
score on that play?
Yeah.
It just comes out of nothing except for your desire to score. So good for Vancouver wanting that goal more, but that was atrocious defensive hockey.
It was. It
And
was.
the fourth goal against wasn't much better. So what's your bad thing?
Yeah. My bad thing is yeah. It's the bottom six, Oilers bottom six getting burned for the third, fourth, and fifth goals against. It'd be one thing if those guys were ever going to score a goal, especially the Riley Sheahan line, which, they got nothing offensively, nothing. And they were at fault on both the third and fourth goals, with the one you just described, the 3-2. And then on the 4-2, it was Archibald who was unable to contain the stick. He was right with this guy. He was in the right place. He was right with this guy, the immortal Louis Eriksson, uh, who is also not a top six player, but it was Eriksson that won the battle and got the shot
Yeah.
away and put it in the net. And when that line goes -2, I mean, it's not like they're going to go out in the third period and get either one of those goals back. It's like they, you
Yeah.
know, they they have to get the job done defensively, and they didn't.
I thought Kara was actually okay in that game, of that group. And Sheehan is a fantastic penalty killer. But
Yeah, he is good on the PK.
you know, I'm not exactly completely certain why Archibald's in the lineup, Bruce. And I don't know if it was just this game, but he has trouble making plays with the puck, and he does hustle and he hits, and
Hmm.
he's at least okay on the PK. He's a good penalty killer. I should be fair and say he's a good penalty killer. But at even strength, he is a hole, and he's supposed to be a defensive specialist. Well, if that's the case, shouldn't you be taking the stick? Like play the
Yeah.
man, play. You're watching the puck, and you don't even take this. All you have to do is tie up the stick. It's all you had to do. It wasn't a really complicated defensive play. It was a defensive fundamental play that you'd think a defensive specialist would make. Now, every NHL player is going to have those moments in a 82 game
Hmm.
season, but he can't have that many of them, Bruce. He can only have, let's say, five
Well,
all
let's.
year, and I think he's at his quota already. So he doesn't create anything on the attack. He is as bad an attacker as Milan Lucic. So he's a better defender than Milan Lucic. It's true. He's as bad as attacker as Milan Lucic, and that's saying a lot. But he's a better defender. So he's a better fourth line player. But Patrick Russell too, Bruce. Like he's on the bubble right now. Like he's got to get something done, and he had no impact that game. And man, he's
one
just
one half
struggling.
decent scoring chance for Russell on a deflection,
Yeah.
and one half decent scoring chance for Archibald, where he made a nice pass to Nurse for a wicked shot from the slot that
Oh well,
Markstrom
there you
just
go.
barely
I
stopped. But
okay.
that was,
Fair
you know,
comment.
that was when you're on for two goals against, you better be creating more than one chance at the other end, or else you better be bearing said chance.
So I'm trying to be patient with a lot of the players, and so far maybe possibly succeeding a wee amount compared to my, but it's still early. So I'd like, there's some players though that really have to step up, and Archibald and Adam Larson, I think, are actually at the top of that list right now. And all right, and Mike Smith, which I'm about to get to. What's your number? Or what was your bad thing?
My bad thing was the bottom six getting ripped
Oh, okay.
for
Yeah, I got you.
for the
Yeah.
three
All
goals,
right, sure.
3, 4, and 5, and the fifth one when Josh Lavo scored on that wraparound. I
Uh,
mean, it's hard to be totally critical of any of the players. It just, to me, that was a B chance that the goalie just needs to do his job and nothing happens. But it didn't happen.
it was a
So,
little bit of a weird play where, again, out of nothing, there was suddenly you're in trouble in their own zone
mhm.
because of bad reads, lack of effort. Even on that fifth goal, we had the same story.
Right.
Okay, I'll go with my number here, which is since Mike Smith's, I don't know what he make uh, against Pittsburgh, he made like 70 to between 70 and 9,000 saves that game. He had a great game. Bruce, he's been mediocre since then. I think he's maybe had one good game, one and a half good games, something like that. His save percentage in the last 5 games is 867 since that
Oh,
big Pittsburgh game, and
that stinks.
that's that's goaltending, which will get you out of the NHL sooner than
Oh,
later.
sure.
It within a few months, like if you have another couple months of that, he can't play anymore, right? If you can't, if you're at 867, and this was another game where there was the wraparound goal. There was, they scored. It seemed to me like they scored on two out of three of their first really good, like really really good chances. These are hard things to stop, but a goalie has to stop about two out of three of them. But he let in two out of three. So Mike Smith is not getting it done right now.
Well, he was 868 tonight, so that's basically right on par with what we've seen lately. And he did make a few nifty saves,
He
but
did.
he was beaten on the short side 3 different times. Both those two kind of in tight to the net when he shuffled his pad out of the way, but also the first goal, the one where they blew the horn in the middle of the play because they looked at the replay and seen the puck go in the net. That beat Smith's short side. It was a great shot, but the guy was out on an angle. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't thrilled with it.
Yeah. It was a sad
Um,
moment at the game when they suddenly stopped play. There was a feeling of doom, that's for sure,
when the
because
horn
that
goes in
doesn't.
the middle of play, that means I've already seen it as in the net.
Yeah,
So
that
it's,
was not very happy that moment. It felt like it went in as soon as it happened, right? Like I thought, did
uh,
that go in? And all right, your number.
yeah. Well, I'm going to go with the five, which is the 5 goals against.
Yeah.
And they're just bleeding goals against right now. And it was uh, 4 last game, and it could have been 14. And I mean,
Yes.
they were outshot so badly in the last game, and then the first period tonight over a 3 period span, they were outshot 52-14 and outscored 6-1. That's enough to lose you 2 games. And it's so there's a bunch of numbers, and not many of them are happy ones. But Dave Tippett, after the game, he was talking about, he said, "You're not going to win many games in this league with 5 goals against." And he's not wrong.
Yeah. Bruce, the Oilers have, according to our grade A chance research this year, we do the video analysis of every game. The Oilers have been about a chance on average by one grade A chance per game this year, and that's a significant number. And it's not going to. They've got to find a way to cut down on their grade A chances against. I mean, I think I've heard a couple of hockey commentators say, well, the Oilers aren't. They're cutting down, like they're not giving up the really great chances, and I do think on the penalty kill, this has been the story that they've cut down on the double A,
The A plus,
like
yeah.
the 30% shots. They've
Hmm.
cut down on the penalty kill. Like Sheahan and Russell and Clefbaum and players like that are really doing, and Archibald are really doing a good job. But at even strength, they're leaking chances as much as ever, and it's going to have you got to get on top of it a little bit more. And again, it's as you point out, if it's these bottom two lines, like that's their job. They can't
Yeah,
be letting grade A chances regularly.
yeah. Well, I mean, it was also, of course, the bottom line players that were on the ice for the Vancouver power play goal as well, right? So they uh, really got lit up for 4. Although obviously you're going to give up the odd power play goal, but it was the Oilers right now. I mean, the number, maybe the number is minus 93, because the Oilers without Ryan Nugent-Hopkins are a mighty thin-looking crew.
Whew, Gagne's
And
that
if the
line.
top line is not dominating, I mean, it was Vancouver's second line that crushed Edmonton tonight, right? It was Bo Horvat with 3 points, Tanner Pearson with 4 points, and Edmonton's second line didn't get a whole lot done.
One thing I would change for sure, I hope to see change that it probably won't happen, but the power play, they really miss Nuge's puck handling and puck winning on the power play.
Mhm.
Chason gave the puck away a couple times. It ended with him. He shouldn't be out on the power play. Like you can't
Mhm.
think you can have Chason or Neal, but you can't have both. You
Well,
can't have both because they're just not strong enough winning pucks, controlling pucks, passing the puck. I would much prefer to see Sam Gagner in Ryan Nugent Hopkins' spot, and because he's at least sure-handed with the puck and he's fairly clever and he's also a right shot. Keep Neal in front of the net. I hope they make that kind of adjustment. I don't know what if it was up to me, I would have Larson sit out a game and say just watch a game and put Benning back in if he's healthy. I guess he's off injured reserve. And Nygaard, I think Nygaard should have been in the last few games. Like he's a fast forward. They need speed. So I don't know who's going to come out there. Probably Russell. I'm expecting we'll see Nygaard. Who else could they put in? Do they have anyone else? Any other
healthy.
forwards? Yeah, I don't think that's about it, eh? So I don't. I wonder if they will. What would you like to see? Any thoughts
Well, I
on that?
expect to see Benning in tomorrow night, and I half expect that it'll be Caleb Jones who comes out.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
He's been having his defensive issues, and on the 4-2 goal, he was one of those that got was it no the three
The
two
the
goal
three because it was Baron
3-2
Nurse
goal
on the
three
other
two
call.
goal that he got beaten up ice like he was in a bad position. He got beaten in the neutral zone. And he never was able to get back in the play,
Yeah,
and you can be sure that the coaches are noticing that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, a -2 again tonight for Caleb. So
he'll
when they're
probably come out.
when
Yeah,
they're reviewing the game, I mean, Adam Larson, for all that we both saw him pretty bad tonight, he was on for 0 goals for or against, and really not a hell of a lot happened when he was out there.
fair enough.
So
Alrighty, we'll do this all again tomorrow. Correct?
yeah, well, hopefully the Oilers big boys will do what they did in Vegas here last week when they were coming off a bad outing and they both stepped it up a notch and Vegas couldn't handle them. And that's really the way for Edmonton to win games, especially with RNH out of the lineup. And of course, they'll have Koskinen in net tomorrow night. That's the other obvious change. So they'll be on the back to back going with. To me, those two short side goals on Smith, the third and fifth goal. There's no
Mm-hmm.
way Koskinen lets either one of those goals in the net.
Yeah,
Also,
he's down low. Koskinen's one of the
he's
best
really
goalies
good.
in the league, isn't he?
His pads are outstanding.
Yeah, Koskinen, in the same time period that Mike Smith is 2 wins and 3 losses, Koskinen is 4 wins and 3 losses, including, but 2 of those were in overtime. So he's gotten points out of
6 out of 7.
6 out of 7, and Smith has 2 out of 5. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out because Tippett's shown a lot of faith in Smith so far, but at some point we might start seeing a bit more of Koskinen at least. Of course, this is
Koskinen's been
back-to-back games.
Koskinen's been the better goalie, and he's had the better results. And by results, I'm not talking about just save percentage, but wins and losses. The team's performed better in the games that Koskinen's played. At some point, you would think he's going to emerge as the uh, preferred starter. Like they're going to use both of them. I don't
How did
suppose you'll ever get a guy playing more than two, three, four in a row. But I think you might see more of Koskinen as time goes on because he's just been the better goalie to this point.
how did Bakersfield do tonight?
They won 3-1.
And they won the previous night. I watched that game, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's interesting, Bruce. They have Lagesson, right? Who's
Mm-hmm.
ready to play third
He had a good game last night,
third
eh?
pairing in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Samarukov's really coming on. Maximov and McLeod are coming on, but Tyler Benson, there's a couple things that I think he's added to his game recently.
Mm-hmm.
He's moving his feet a little bit quicker in the offensive zone. He just looks a little bit quicker, and he's also going to the net far more often and far stronger. He's making a real point of that. So it'll be interesting to see if we see Tyler Benson here fairly soon because um, they could use another offensive player, obviously, and I'd like to see him get a chance. I'd still like to see Nygaard get 4 or 5 games with Nugent Hopkins. before they maybe go to Benson. I think that should be their next move, but the coach just seems hesitant to do that, and I don't quite understand why. But um, I'd like to see that because Chason, I don't know. He looks like a third line, fourth line player right now to me.
So they had two assists from Evan Bouchard tonight, a goal and assist from Kyler Yamamoto, two
All good.
assists from Cooper Marody, an assist from William Lagesson. So they're getting points tonight, at least, from their younger prospects, the guys that are the more interesting players long term, and you want to see those guys turn the corner.
It's
Um,
good that Yamamoto's back. He'd missed four
yeah.
or five games with injury,
Mhm.
and apparently wasn't that severe. So he just needs to stay healthy because he has looked good in the games that I've seen him play. He's looked good too. So he's another possibility, right? Like it'll be Benson or Yamamoto. One of them will get a chance, I think, at some point. Um, because there's talk of the Oilers making a trading for a forward, and I think the logical thing to do before you trade for a winger, um, if you're just looking to plug someone into your second line, is you try Nygaard there for 4, 5, 6, 7 games, and then if he doesn't work, then you try Benson, and then you try Yamamoto. Like I think there's options that you go through, and then
Mhm.
if that's not working, if one of those guys doesn't step up, then you might pull if you're still in the playoff hunt, right? Which they which they definitely are right now. So, all right, Bruce, you got some writing to do tonight, so I'll
Yeah, I do.
let you
I'm
go.
just working on. I got to Mike Smith, and I was writing a rather longer comment on him, and then I'm going to carry on. I'm just looking up Bakersfield now. They're fourth place, tied for third in the Pacific. 9 wins, 9 losses, three other losses. So 9 wins in 21 games. Not that good.
They've had weak
But
goaltending.
starting to
Bruce is the
starting to turn
truth.
around, and they need Shane Starrett to come back sooner than later. So
Yeah, Skinner's had some good games, I guess, but I mean, save percentage tells us a lot about goalies, I think, and his is pretty. It's in the 880 range, I think. So that's not. I think they've missed Starrett quite a bit. All right, thanks for talking tonight.
yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.